my name is Yana, and today we'll be talking about the relationship of E. coli and the pH. So, I was wondering, what is the relationship between the amount of E. coli and the pH of water it lives in? For this question, I developed a few hypotheses. So, first, since the ideal pH of water is 7 and the E. coli likes to live in it, perhaps the closer the pH will be to 7, the more E. coli will be present. The other hypothesis I developed that maybe E. coli will prefer lower pHs or higher pHs to live in. For this experiment, I split the Waller Creek into 11 sites and recorded the data from all of them. First, my partner and I went to the creek site. Then we actually collected the data. So we had to rinse the bottle 3 times in order to make sure our water sample is not going to be contaminated. We chose a brown plastic bottle so the sun is not going to penetrate our sample and no problems are going to result in our data collection. Another thing that later after the water was collected in the bottle, we placed it in the ice to prevent heat from killing the E. coli. Another thing we did at the same site, we recorded a YSI reading. For that, we actually collected it a little bit upstream so the results won't be contaminated from rinsing the water bottle. Upon returning back to the lab, we put the sample of our water on Petri films and incubated it. We created 3 different Petri films with different concentrations of acid and our water sample from the creek site. We had to incubate our Petri films for 24 hours to make sure that our E. coli is being present perfectly. As being represented in the picture, that's exactly what the Petri film looks like, and the blue dots are actually the E. coli. So our last thing in 24 hours, we just had to record the results, make some mathematical conversions, and to figure out how much of E. coli did we have present at each site with what pH. So these are the results that we received. We actually had only 21 sites to work with because a lot of the other sites had error in it. So from here, you can see that we have a variety of the amount of E. coli from 0 per 100 milliliters of water to around 5,000 E. coli. As well, you can see that the pHs were varied pretty much differently. You can see them from negative points as well as to 9.43. So the last value of 5,000 E. coli per 100 milliliters, we were able to Q-drop it with 95% confidence. So from the remaining 20 points, we have received the graph on the right. And from the graph on the right, we did the R-squared test, and as you can tell, it was 0.072, which is way too little in order to see any correlation between the pHs as well as the amount of E. coli. So what could potentially have made such an interesting discorrelation of our results? Perhaps we had too little of a sample. So one thing we could do is from those 11 sites to come there perhaps 2 times a week for a few weeks. Or we could come every single day for a week or 2, and then it will give us at least over 100, perhaps 150 samples that we could actually work with. Another thing we could do is get more creek sites. more creek sites, more locations, and to see if the pHs flow in a certain point and if the E. coli flows with it. A third thing that could have potentially altered our results will be if we would have more time. So the results that we collected, the data that we collected previously was in 2 consecutive days, and the data was collected 3 times at every site. So perhaps if we would be collecting the data in, for example, in 2 weeks or a month, as long as it doesn't rain throughout that time period, the results could have been different. And another thing, if we would have less people collecting those results, our results would probably be a little more consistent. Because so many people were recording the YSI readings as well as counting the E. coli, making transferring them from feature films to 100 milliliters, 100 milliliters count, that could actually have altered a lot of results, and that had a great room for error. So next time, if I would have redone the same experiment, I would do it in a few weeks, add a few more creek sites, and I would probably do it by myself or with 1 or 2 people helping me. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope this helps you with your further research, and have a good day and see you soon.